My dad, before I started driver's ed, he let me drive on the dirt roads out like by my house, and so he would be really good about it. He wouldn't let me go over 30, but and then my mom would let me do it, and my mom, like, every time I would like start going fast, if I didn't start braking fast enough, she would like slam her foot down on the like in front of her and like grasp the side of the door and like freak out. So I don't know, that was funny, I thought.
How did that make you feel? Did that help you feel like you were more in control?
No, it was just frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I had it under control, and she just freak out.
Anybody else's parents freak out?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How did they freak out? What was the screaming, yelling? Were there any tears?
My dad would only really freak out when I was in his car. When I was in my mom's car, I didn't really care.
Yeah, my mom grabs the ceiling, so even if there's no handle there, she still kind of grabs the ceiling. So
My mom has panic attacks.
Your mom was panicked?
She'll have panic attacks like in the car with me, and if I'm even like after I got my license, like if we're both leaving the same place and like I have my car and she has her car, she lets me leave 10 minutes before her so that she doesn't have to watch me drive.
So what does this do when you're in the car with your parents and they're freaking out? What does it do to you emotionally or mentally? Does it help you at all? Are you learning anything from that?
Well, it's pretty stressful. I mean, it's just another thing to think about. I mean, you're already covering all the stuff that you just learned in driver's ed, and now you got a parent sort of screaming in your ear. It just isn't really helpful at all.
I feel like it kind of makes your driving worse when they yell at you. So.
When adults are talking to you about being a safer driver, like, do the messages get across, or do you sort of feel like you're being talked down to?
I feel like they don't feel like we're responsible enough to like know these on our own. And I feel like it just kind of makes us want to like rebel against them more and do it more. So.
I think it gets really repetitive after you hear the same thing from every parent and over concerned, and it just makes it seem like it's a big hype that you don't need to pay attention to anymore because it's just words, it's not reality.
In moderation, I think it's helpful, but yeah, like when it's just repeated and over again, then it just gets annoying, and then you don't really want to pay attention to it anymore.
One of the things I'm more interested about was when there's not adults in the car, or there's not anybody watching you. How are you as a driver? What changes?
I drive worse when my parents are in the car.
Yeah.
I'm always so nervous about that I'm doing something wrong or like I'm focusing on one thing that I won't think, well, I need to do something else. You know,
You don't think about the big picture.
Yeah, you think about the small things instead of thinking about just driving when you're with your parents.
Well, that's like I was saying earlier, like I feel like driving becomes habit because once you know the basics, it's just kind of you get in and you go, which takes away the excitement. But when your parents are in the car, it's like you feel like every single one of those things has to be paid attention to exactly, even though necessarily they don't follow it, but they're the first people to point it out. So you're so stressed when they're in their car. When you're alone by yourself, you know you're not going to kill anybody. You know you're doing the right thing. Maybe it's not exactly the way driver's ed taught you, but that's the way skills are acquired, is you adapt to them.
Yeah, I drive worse with my parents in the car because they still yell at me about my driving, like everything I do, and it makes me more stressed out. But like when they're not in my car and I'm with my friends, like they don't criticize my driving, so like it's okay.
There were less distractions in cars back then, though. Like now we're trying to, you have a radio and you have a GPS or like an FM, you know, like you're playing with your iPod or something to play music through the stereo. So it's a little bit different because they don't, even though sometimes you can like play with the radio and drive, you know, just clicking a button real quick, but for them they look at that as and seeing it as a huge distraction, and when in reality it's not that big of a distraction.
So we'll hit the topic that nobody really wants to talk about, but do you guys text and drive?
At stoplight.
Well,
Stop sign.
yeah, my parents are okay if it's at like a stop sign or a stoplight because they'd rather have me do that than while I'm actually driving. So like I pretty much stick to that. Like I really don't answer my phone while I'm driving unless it's like my parents calling me. So.
You know, I've checked to see who it is, but I don't really, you know, I'll glance at it, but I don't look at the text or respond or anything unless, well, no, I just don't respond.
I've been known to text only when we're getting out of the school parking lot, because it only opens out onto one road through 2 exits of the parking lot. It's sort of a crawl, so I'm going like 2 miles an hour. So yeah, I'll get out my phone then, but when I'm actually driving, I really don't.
Like Mike said, I'll check and see who it's from, and then if I'm at a stop sign or at a stoplight, I'll read it, but I usually don't respond.
What do you think? Is there anything I'm missing? Is there any big major point you think that adults are missing when we talk about teen driving?
I think that something that we don't really ever do is do something hands-on, like what to do if you're getting into an accident situation, because under the current format, it's sort of impossible. Because like in the current like 6 hours of driving with an instructor in the car, you're going out on roads like in a neighborhood. So when are you ever going to get into a situation where you're spinning? But I think I'm trying to remember what country it was. I think it's Finland, where they go. You have to be able to like do a power slide and without hitting any of these cones around a wet track, and that's like part of the road test.
Yeah,
And
nice.
it's true, but so is Michigan.
Yeah,
So-
I
think we
just
should. No, go
Sorry.
ahead.
I just took driver's ed too, and they now offer, like in the winter, you can go in the parking lot out here and take like, they put like caster wheels almost on the car and they spin around, but you have to like special sign up for it, and it costs a lot of money, so it's not really like a very good opportunity, I guess. Like not a lot of people are gonna take it because it's kind of,
I think that should be required. My dad wouldn't let me drive at all in the winter until we went into like an icy parking lot so that I could get used to it. And I mean, I'm really glad that he did, because I was so nervous about it, and then that kind of helped me. But I wouldn't have known how to handle a situation where I was skidding through driver's ed.
My first winter of driving, like solo after having my license was pretty bad. And even when I did everything I was supposed to do, I was on 4-wheel drive and going really slow. I still didn't know how to handle going around a slightly icy turn. And so I kind of wish we had more training about all different weather.
Yeah, it would have been helpful. Like last winter, it was I slid into a ditch and hit a stop sign because it was a dirt road and it was icy, and like I was going slow and everything, but like did not knowing how to control the car, just like it totally slid. So it would have been helpful.
I need to. I mean, adults have more equipped vehicles. Majority leased cars, newer cars within the last 2 or 3 years. For us to be driving 10-year-old cars, I mean, these are cars that aren't going to react correctly either. These aren't cars that are going to stop as quickly or react regardless of how we react.